Squatch Zone Radio.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Squatch Zone Radio. We're back. Yes, it's been a while, but yes, we're back. Sometimes we need to take a break and kind of sit back and chill because some things just become a little overwhelming sometimes, especially when you get tied up and busy with a lot of other things. Another reason I wanted to do a show for tonight was, unfortunately, you guys won't probably see nothing posted or hear from me at least till Friday after tonight. Yes, unfortunately, I had to make a sacrifice, so you guys won't hear or see nothing from me. So if it appears that I disappeared for the next few days, I'm still around, just can't do what I'd like to do. But I'll be back Friday after tonight. So anyway, my co-host Shaky Jr., he's live with us right now. Shaky, what's going on with you, buddy?
Oh, no, it's great. It's good to be back, bro. Well, it's been a little break, and I'm glad to be back up here with you, talking about the big hairy guy.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a good deal.
Wait, what big hairy guy? You talking about me?
No, there's several. There's several out there.
Oh, yeah. We got some discussion for in regards to the big hairy guy today. We are going to hear an update as soon as Michael Cook starts. I think Michael Cook is eating right now. I have no idea. I'm assuming he's eating dinner, or he may be dealing with his little ones. But he has some information he wants to touch base with us. I know he had a recent outing with one of our previous guests, and he's a great researcher, Greg Yost. And by the way, for those who may not be familiar, Greg Yost and Michael Cook, they are also members and part of the Dawn Peaks Wilderness Adventure team, which is awesome. Dawn Peaks Wilderness Adventure. If you're not familiar with that, I advise you guys to go find him on Facebook. Check out his page, Dawn Peaks Wilderness Adventures. And if you have not done so, give him a like on his page. Right now, he's over 1,900 likes. So about 1,930 likes, roughly, somewhere around that general area. But yeah, pay attention. Subscribe to his feed. Recently he's been sharing information in regards to his upcoming event for the Louisville, Kentucky Bigfoot and Dogman Conference coming up May 20th of 2017. He's been posting recent posts with various speakers for that event, and he's got his administrators that are in the works of sharing posts as well. You'll see that every time he posts, I try to share onto the ECBRO page as well. So you can find some of the information there, but I advise you go directly to his page. You can view all the detailed information right there on his page and give him a like. Like their page. Again, they are great people. They're very honest, down the earth. And again, for the record, because I've heard, I know there was a statement a post that he made recently, and I've had an individual actually say something to me about, well, they removed him from a group because they're all about money. No, their event, they're not asking for no money. They're not raising no money for any benefit whatsoever. As far as the funds, there is, like any other Bigfoot conference, there is a fee to get into the doors, but that covers the cost of using the building that's being used. If there is any extra money, I do believe, hopefully they can correct me on this, but if there is any extra money used, after paying off the cost, they are making a donation to a worthy cause, and I'm trying to remember that cause. Shaky, you wouldn't have to remember what or know what that is, do you?
Man, I remember him talking about it, but I don't remember what the cause was. But it was something. I don't know if it had something to do with animals or something. But it was a good thing.
I could have sworn, I thought it was something to do with some kind of cancer foundation or something.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah, that's why. I should have researched that before I said him, because I know it's going to be to a worthy cause. I remember reading it's some kind of donation. It may be something to do with a cancer foundation or something. But yeah, Don Peak and his team, they're not after no money whatsoever. If I
remember, Daniel, he's not even having vendors there at this thing because of that. It's non-profit.
Right. Absolutely. There will be no vendors whatsoever. You're right. Absolutely. Basically, what this is it's inviting the public, just like any other conference, where unlike the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, I know the fee you pay to get in there is strictly just to see the speakers. It is free to attend those, just only if you're looking around at the vendors. It's free to browse the vendor section. But as far as speakers, they have a high fee to get in there to listen to the speakers. This year, he's got a lot of speakers lined up. I've been seeing post after post when they have speakers lined up. And I've been resharing all the speakers on the E.C.B.R.O. like page as well. I know there's a few that I'm well familiar with. So that's, he's got some good people lined up. He got some really great people. I don't think he's done finding more speakers. It sounds like it's going to be a big event because he's got people coming from all over the country. Not just local people. He's got people from the West Coast. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I think he might have somebody coming from Australia. Again, don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. Then again, I know I'm going to try to get whenever Michael Cook gets on here, when he updates us on his recent outing, and let him touch base. I know he shared some information on one of our recent podcast shows on the YouTube channel, E.C.B.R.O. 98. I'm going to get him to touch base on, kind of remind everybody on what he's working on in regards to the All-American Bigfoot Conference, which that sounds like it's going to be another big turnout, which is going to be next year as well, but in a separate month. I think around August of 2017. So there's something to keep in mind. Trying to think. But yeah, again, Don Peak, check out his page, view all the information on all the different posts. And yes, there's a number of us looking forward to going down there next year. Yours truly. I'm very excited. This is the first time I've ever been invited to be one of the speakers, which is awesome. So I know there's a number of us looking forward to getting together and going down. I know my friend Mike from New York, I grew up with down here in Virginia. He just recently told me he's to look there, and he said, I heard, count me in. I'm going. I was like, cool, man, because that gives us a fairly decent number that's going to be traveling down there for that event, May 20th of 2017. So I think the more people we could get together, go down there, I think it'll be easier on me because I don't know. I got to thinking, I don't think I'll be nervous, but then that's a different story when when I get down there. So if you come down there, I might pull you into the, in front of the crowd. All right, I'll let Shaky take over here.
I'm not scared to talk in front of people. That's my hang up. I can talk in front of big crowds.
Now, it's something. I am looking forward to it, so it should be interesting. I don't care if I sound stupid when I talk. I just tell how it is and be honest about everything, and show them what I got and share some experiences and what I do know based off of my experiences. So basically, all we could do. But yeah. All right, let me see something here. I wanted to let the viewers know, if you're viewing this right now, if you're listening, tuning in through the link, if you have any questions regarding anything whatsoever, feel free to send the message here on the live chat, or you could ask me if you want to leave a chat or a comment or question on Facebook. I'm viewing Facebook right now too, so feel free to go under my messenger, send me a direct message under Messenger. Yeah, Shaky, one thing I do want to bring up, and I think Michael, I'm checking something here. Michael Cook, I think he's MIA right now. But, yeah, Shaky, it was part of a discussion, and it was a question Mr. David Stump had asked. We were briefly talking about this before we went live. Sasquatch having a language. He brought that up because he said recently he had heard what sounded like gibberish in the woods. Now, keep in mind, here David lives in a log cabin out in the woods. I'm not familiar with the surrounding area. I'm not sure. Does he live in West Virginia? Do you know?
No, I don't think so. I think it's up north somewhere, like Wisconsin or something. But I could be wrong.
Okay. I'm not
100% sure.
All right, I'll tell you what. I might be able to find the information out real quick. See if it shows that information on his Facebook. Okay, yeah, you're right. It does show from Appleton, Wisconsin. Yeah. So yeah, that's where he. Yeah. But yeah, he said he recently heard some chatter, but he described it as more real gibberish. Now, you stated, every animal has their own language, correct? Like of some form, one way or another.
Crows are known to be the smartest bird alive, and they can talk. They know how to talk to each other. They sound off for danger. They sound off for food. They have geese, ducks. If animals didn't have a language, why would you have a duck call or a goose call for hunting? You can sit there and blow that thing all you want, but if you're blowing it the right way, they're not going to land in front of you. So it's the language.
Yeah. Even crows could be so obnoxious, man. It's real quick, not to really get off the topic here, but in the new recent location that we're studying, and we're making this new area a priority and a main focus right now. This past weekend was the second time I've been to that location, and so far, you can hear it throughout the day, from the morning, sometime even in the evening. There's this one crow. I swear, there's one crow. I've been out in the woods. Don't get me wrong. I hear a lot of crows sometimes, but this one crow he can make up for a whole flock of them. I mean, because this one crow is the loudest bird up there in the trees. He kind of changes location. Sometimes he might be on the back part of the ridge, like south of you. He might be west of you, east, whatever. Most of the time, he's like over on the south ridge. In the southwest ridge, I call it. And I tell you what, that crow sounds like I don't even know how to describe it. Like he's coughing, but making his caw sound at the same time. He's like, I don't know. He's got a deep vocal to it.
Is it a crow or is it a raven?
What's that?
There's two different birds. There's a crow and there's a raven. A crow is smaller. A raven's big, almost like a hawk.
Right.
But they sound
I'll be honest with you, because I have not seen it that clear. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of them through the trees, but it could be either or, but he's very loud. I mean, it's like the loudest crow I could ever heard. Yeah, he's always. I don't even. Yeah, he's always sounding off. Regardless if it's me or if the campers are almost a quarter mile away. The hunters. Because, when I was out there this past weekend, there were hunters out there, but they weren't in my area where I was at. They were about roughly, like I said, maybe a little less than a quarter mile, like, north of me from where I was camping. So, yeah, they were, they were doing their thing up there. But, yeah, that crow stays in that area. I mean, but he was very obnoxious, so. But, yeah, let me get back on top. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Let me tell you real quick how smart these birds are. When I was growing up in Southern Maryland, my grandfather, I lived on the farm with my grandfather, and we planted a big field of corn one year. Well, I go out there, and there's a bunch of crows out in this field. My grandfather says, go out there and just shoot one of them and leave them in the field. All right. So I go down there, and I pop one off with a 410. Left them laying there, wings sprawled out, just left them right there in the edge of the creek. Well, actually right there, like 2 rows out, I left them where it could be seen. You never saw another crow land in that field the rest of that year.
Wow.
They knew. They knew seeing that dead one there to stay the hell away from it.
Wow. Well, you kind of actually made me think of something else in regards to that crow I was talking about. But that if I was to get into that, that's going to take us probably a little further off the topic of talking about Sasquatch language. I did tell David that I would kind of bring this up, and I don't know anything about Sasquatch language. Although I do agree they have their own communication, like you said. As far as every species has a way of communicating with its own kind. But yeah, then again, there's some animals we do understand, like deer, for example. Some of us come to learn what a blow or a snort means, and stuff like that. Right. Those are but now, as far as the Sasquatch language, and I haven't heard no more. Maybe someone else has, but I haven't. Maybe I haven't looked into it. But Scott Nelson, he's the only one I could think of that's, as far as I know, what he's heard what he believes to be an unknown language. Again, I'll repeat that 2-syllable word for the viewers. Unknown. And basically, from what I gathered from his research and his study on the recording that he got, it all originated from his son's school project, and his son was doing or working on. He overheard something, and he couldn't help but notice that there was some kind of language in there. But when he broke it down, he did a study on it. He broke it up. Like, again, there was nothing known out of it. But he broke up. He came to realize there were syllables. I can't speak for him, what they were, but there is a posting with those syllables, the different sounds he heard in them. But he did use the American alphabet to come up with some of those sounds that were being heard and made out in there. I can't, like I said, thinking of them right offhand. I could probably look that back up. I did see the paper on that, but I can't think of it right offhand. It's public information. If you look up Scott Nelson's, I don't know, try to Google Scott Nelson Bigfoot talk. You might come across what I'm referring to. It is interesting. It's very interesting. Like I said, I don't know if there was any more ever said or looked into on that. But yeah, that's the only thing I know that's, again, I think related to the chatter or gibberish talk. I believe that's basically what it boils down to, is all gibberish. Because we don't understand it. It's nothing known. And then it
sounds like a language.
Oh yeah.
I think what people are hearing, the one thing the human mind wants to do is if they hear something, they want to compare it to what they know. It's part of your brain.
Right.
It wants to compare it to what it knows. So, you're hearing something that sounds familiar to you, and your brain is saying, "Hey, I know that sounds like a person. That sounds, human. That sounds just, but that's just your mind working. It doesn't
Oh
mean
yeah,
it's there.
absolutely. Or the way, you're right. The way that people conceive on what they're hearing. For example, I'll share this little bit of information. Now, the area that I'm in, as far as my research area, what brought me there? Well, there's a number of reasons that brought me there, but my a real good friend, and he's also a fellow researcher who brought me there. He's camped there a lot, and he calls it Whispering Hollow. Now, that's not the real name, but that's what he named it. He says sometimes in the evening you'll hear voices, and those voices are associated with what's up above you. Now, and I pointed this out before too, what's above, you're in the middle and down below a set of power lines, big power lines that run east to west. And those power lines, if you listen, you right there in that camp location, you can hear them snap, crackle, and pop right above your head. But sometimes the way the wind, what's that?
And you probably hear them hum too. They have a hum to them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, they sure do. Yeah, and between the way the wind and the combination of any bit of wind, and the sound of the wires, the way they come down, I think it all has a combination of what might come across as sounding like someone talking or whispering. That's one of the reasons why he says he calls it Whispering Hollow. Now, just from the 2 times I've been there, as far as any sounds like whispers, no, I haven't heard them. I've heard some other crazy stuff around there, but not no whispers. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I need more time in that area. But if you read my recent blog post, I'm sure you read the part where I more or less, I guess you could say I somewhat got chased or chickened out and just grabbed my stuff and left. I guess that's the easy way to sum it up. I'm not afraid to admit that, hey, I got scared. Okay. I was concerned. I had, I was, I don't know, everything that was happening that evening and let's rewind. As I stated, from what I found in that area that day, just up on the forest road, and then the thought of everything that people shared to me about that area, and then what I started hearing, I had a whoop right behind camp. Then I'm hearing all this trees cracking and breaking, and then thinking it's a bear, I start making noise, and then it got closer right behind my camp, directly behind the tent ball, probably about 30 yards or so. I'm freaking out. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, this ain't scaring no bear. I thought about shooting off my gun, but what was that going to do? I don't know. I didn't feel right shooting off a gun knowing, it's not gun season yet anyway. That might attract attention that I don't want there, But, so, I don't know. All kinds of thoughts were running through my head. And I was like, well, it's better to be safe to be sorry. I grabbed all my valuables, threw it in my blazer, and got out of Dodge. Because, tell you what, going back up that mountain, because I had to go up that mountain road, that windy road. Tell you what, that was a spooky setting because the fog had settled in. You could barely see going around the sharp curves of the narrow mountain road. It was definitely very eerie. And rumor has it that area is haunted down below where I was camping. Because the first time I camped there, my buddy said, yeah, it's believed to be haunted around here because there was people killed back here many, many, many years ago. I was like, wow, that's good to know. So... But yeah. Hey, Baltimore is on the live chat. Awesome. And for the record, Michael Cook, he said give him a few minutes. He's on his way in, so we'll get to hear from Michael Cook very shortly. But yeah, that area. By the way, I do got to go back out there this weekend because my tent is in there. I have not made up my mind if I was going to try to camp again, but I don't know. It's still set up for me, My cot's made up like my bed here at home. So, yeah, I just have to bring some supplies and go out there. But I was determined if I go out. What's that now?
I said that old Squatch has moved into that hotel.
Well, if there is a Squatch, if that was a Squatch, and he is in that area, I hope he walks by one of my trail cameras there, because I had 2 trail cameras set out there. One in the woods over on the one side of my camp, and one over. That's what got me excited too. I mean, after I left out of there, I got to think. I said, "Man, right where that tree was cracking, I had a trail camera right over there." I hope whatever did that, I hope I caught it on camera. So I don't know. What's that?
It wasn't the tree the camera was on.
Yeah. Hey, we got Baltimore calling in. Yes, here's Baltimore.
How y'all doing?
All right. How you doing, Baltimore?
I've been doing real good. And yourselves?
Oh, not bad, man. Not bad. Yeah, I saw you on the live chat there. And
yeah, it was it sounded like there was a whole bunch of different conversations going on. It didn't sound quite right.
Do we sound okay right now?
Right now, no, because I actually turned off my laptop because it sounded like like you were saying something and it like kept repeating or something like that. It was a bad reception.
Oh, okay. I hope it's not like that for the the other listeners. So, that's weird.
Yep.
Well, I know I'll definitely find out afterwards after I upload and download. Well, after I download this episode and upload it to my YouTube channel. So.
All right.
Yeah, because usually that's what I do. Every time we do a radio show, after it's done, I'll download it to my computer, and then I'll upload it on my YouTube channel, E.C.B.R.O. 98. So that way, for anyone who might have missed it, they can listen to it later. So, or they can listen to it right here through the under the archives under the online radio here. So, Nikki said it's good for her. Awesome. Thank you, Nikki. She said we're all clear to her. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we're also waiting on again Michael Cook. I guess he's a little busy right now, but he's working his way in here because he wanted to share something with us. But hey, Baltimore, while we got you on here, now you had some recent activity going on. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Normally, what I have is I have a calendar of everything that goes on. Like every year, if I hear something, I put it down on my calendar, and
right.
and then so that's what I normally do for checking out birds that are migrating, animals that are migrating, and here in September, that's the time that I normally hear Bigfoot come in, and we've been hearing a lot of yelling going on down the creek beds. But thing is, again, for me, is like if I don't actually find a perfect track, then I consider it, not a track. I just want to make sure they have found toes in there. But
right.
I found I did actually find some big heel impressions. But here recently, the yelling activity has really increased. And I talked to some neighbors around, and they actually heard the same thing. And actually, also too, like around pretty close to 17 miles away, they have actually been having more activity going on over there as well.
And what you said another area? What part of
it's like around,
Texas?
It's in South Texas, and what we have is we have major big creeks. We have creeks named El Toro, and the Medio Creek. The Medio Creek is basically a long time ago was where the cattlemen, for the vaqueros, actually watered their cattle before they went into the next stream of water, which was the San Antonio River. So we named the creek in Medio. Basically, it was the middle, and the other half was the Nueces River. And there's always constantly water down the Medio Creek, and that's why these animals, or Bigfoot, has really been focusing a lot on these waterway areas.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, because I remember you talking about a calendar and keeping track of when the different activities take place throughout the different times of year.
Correct.
I mean, and that's basically what I do. I don't use a calendar. These are things I document under my notes, and also I have a very large topographical map of. Hold on, what the heck is that? Oh, never mind. It sounded like somebody was calling again. It was right in my ear. But now, what I was saying, a large topical map I have, and I jot notes and stuff on there too. And I marked the specific type of activity I receive in there, and the time of year. For example, our recent one of our most recent outings here, it was during the first week of September. Well, there's 2 months. I mean, we get activity all throughout the year, but there was 2 most active times of the year in my main research area, and that was like the month of May and then the month of September, and that's why I chose the month of September in the location where we camped. And I tell you what, it worked out great. It's just the first night or two, it was kind of a bummer. Nothing really happened, but we did have 2 good nights there, and I'm glad everyone got to experience the activity that we did, including my father who camped out with us, which was awesome. I didn't mean to kind of, cut you off or anything, but I wanted to kind of share that as far as keeping track of the activity around the different times of year. But,
right.
And
also too is that we also down here in South Texas, we're getting ready for deer season. Deer season's already started for bow. And,
right, same here.
A lot of and the thing is, what's been going on too is a lot of the Bigfoots have actually been messing around with people's feeders. And so they have been getting into hog traps. The last time I was on your show, I talked about that the hunter would actually shoot a deer and he would run into the woods and they would never ever find it. And because the animals are just Bigfoot, I call Bigfoot the animal. And he's slowly watching us, actually what we're doing, because they basically know our routine, but we don't know theirs. But they know our routines. If you live in the country, if you go outside and you could actually, if your front door would slam, you would hear it from a distance. If you're in the woods, you could actually hear the door slam, and it would have a time zone when you're coming in and out. So the animal basically knows our movements as well. So. And I'm kind of slowly starting to know its movements and stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I know I can't say much for this new area that I'm in. Regarding the recent activity I've gotten, it's something I just need to stay. This is, like I said, totally new for me. And I've heard all kinds of reports. I've gathered reports from various people. And then I've been shared photos of findings from other people in that area. And these ain't Bigfoot people. These are people actually were non-believers, but some of them actually, I guess you could say they're on the skeptic side because they don't realize, they're coming across these things out in the middle of nowhere. And they're just kind of shocked to see that, wow, look what I'm finding out here. And then when they learn about, who you are, they're like, hey, check this out. You got to check this out. It's like, okay, where is this again? And I said, okay, a buddy of mine told me about that area. I said, maybe I got to start paying attention to this area. And the more and more I heard about things and things shared, I say, all right, I need to get my butt up there and start spending more time up there. Because, I found things with, other researchers in that area together in the past, not far from there. So if things are, all this activity has been more or less narrowed down to this one specific area, this one spot. People are having rocks thrown at them. They're hearing these screams, and then, if you see my recent blog posts with the photos in them, with the tracks, those are the most impressive tracks. I found a few smaller ones, but, nothing compared to what was on that forest road. But then all the activity that happened that evening, it kind of blew my mind. And like I stated in the blog post, I ended up packing up and leaving because it just got too close for comfort. You know what I mean? So
right.
I have a lot to learn about that area. So
right.
It's going to take me a while to understand, the routine and what they're doing there. Apparently a lot of people don't really stay settled there. I mean, it's not like where my main research area, you get more campers in that area. Out here, you get a few local hunters, and then once an occasional campers. From what I understand. So
right.
So
see,
yeah, it's going to be a matter of time.
See, also too, what I would love to talk to you also about is the hunters. The hunters basically have the key for solving or getting a good picture of Bigfoot.
Right.
Because they should, let's say, for example, I kid myself all the time for this, and I had an opportunity to catch it on the trail cam, and I just wasn't quick enough, basically. If you come up there, if they field dress an animal, they should have an area where they actually field dress these animals, and have a camcorder there in the area where they throw the insides to the deer. And so like that, and then so like that, once they field dress the animal and take it there, and then so once they leave, you could have a real good chance of catching an excellent photo there of a squatch, because the thing is again because that's actually the bait, and because that's actually what they go for. That's why they go to the creeks. That's why they go to bridges, because people throw away their body parts to deers in creeks. So
right.
that's what I normally found was going on where I live at.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I know on the one side of my camp in this new area, there is a, probably about 60, 70 yards, there is a nice creek that runs through there. But over where I have one trail on the other side of the camp, where I have a trail camera set up over there, I also noticed from scouting around, finding a few tracks around there, I have found some deer bones, including a partial skull. When I say a partial skull, I mean most of it's there except for the front snout's missing, the lower jawbone's gone, and then give or take a few leg bones, but that's about it. Now that could because I don't know, that could be part of a coyote, or or it could have been an old herd where they might have dropped off the rest of the remains after they field dressed it, because a lot of times, a lot of these off these old back roads stuff, you get hunters that will take what they want off the deer and leave the rest alone. I've seen a lot of that, where they'll leave the hide and stuff. That could have been remains of that, but then again, you kind of get to thinking, wondering, hey, did a squatch do this? Because look, I'm finding tracks in this area, I set my trail camera up there. I had the activity over in that area. So, and then just above there on the forest road, again, I found those big tracks.
Right.
So I don't know. Anything's possible. And I know at the same time I can't rule out bears, because I know when I approached the area when I got there to set up, I couldn't help but notice just from the few trees on the outside of the camp spot. Man, the bears have been tearing things up around there, So I know the bears are active in there. And when I climbed the ridge, I did come across a large bear track in the leaves. At least it appeared to be a bear track, because I'm usually pretty good at identifying bear tracks, But
right.
So I don't know. There's a lot to consider, and it's hard. You can't rule out certain things, but at the same time, when you have all this other activity taking place, and after everything that's been shared to you, it's hard to where you want to lean and everything being Bigfoot, but at the same time, well, what if it's not Bigfoot? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
it's just like ghost hunting. It's just like ghost hunting. I'm also a ghost hunter as well, and there's some stuff that you actually see it on film. It could be a moth, or it could be just a trick of the light, or it could be a smear in your camera lens. And
right.
but there's certain things that they come up there and say, hey, I think you got something here.
Right.
Exactly. And then the thing is again, it's a lot like Bigfooting. I could go into the woods and everything like that and look at something. Did a wild pig do this? did a cow get out of here and make these tracks here? That's the stuff you have to have in the back of your mind. But then when you start, because at first when they were doing these bin pictures of these trees being bent down, and then all of a sudden I thought to myself, well, maybe that's not what it is. And all of a sudden I started finding all this other tree bends, and trees are so difficult for a human to actually bend by themselves. And going, something else did this. And then all of a sudden you look on the path and find a heel, instead of a heel. So and the thing is, again, we have to. We are our own worst critics, and is it or isn't it? And we have to make the decision right there and then: is it or isn't it? Should I cast it or shouldn't I cast it? Because I always have a kit with me. I always have plaster with me. I always have rubber gloves with me. I actually do this thing like a crime scene, like something. I look for hair. I look for any little thing to say, hey, this is different. And it goes, let's have this thing tested out. So,
yeah, that's like the decision. I had to make that a very similar decision the other day when I came across those tracks. I mean, and I have a video I put together. I'll upload that afterwards when I get a chance. But it was on the forest road. The decision I had to make was, well, by the time I get down to camp, because I didn't have the plaster with me. The plaster was in my vehicle, but I had to think, when I got back down to camp, I said, is it going to be worth attempting to cast the tracks? And then I said, no. I said to myself, no, you're going to regret it. And sure enough, I'm glad I made the decision, because not long after finding those tracks, I had dirt bike after dirt bike after dirt bike going by.
Oh, wow.
And it was crazy. And I don't know. And then give or take, a truck or two came by eventually. But so, I mean, I'm glad I made the decision not to do that. So, we have another caller in here, and I don't recognize his number because it's not on my list. So if it's Michael Cook, I don't know. Well, we'll find out who it is very shortly.
Detroit again.
Hey, caller, you're live on Squatch Zone Radio. Who do we have with us?
Well, this is Michael Cook.
Oh, you're changing numbers up on me.
This is the same number I've had for like 3 weeks.
Well, I have a 606 area code.
Yeah, that's when I'm down in Harlan County. I have to call landline because I don't have any service down there.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah. So what's going on, folks? What's happening? Tell me something good.
Well, we've been in some great discussion here with Baltimore. He was one of our previous guests from Texas. He is a full-blooded Apache Indian. So if you don't watch, well, he can't come and scalp you. You're already bald. So. Sorry, Baltimore. I had to throw that out there, Michael. We like messing with Michael Cook.
Listen,
man.
Michael Cook got messed with bad this weekend, but we'll get into that.
Uh-oh. Everyone's always picking on you, Michael.
Well, in this case, it was something not human picking on me this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, definitely, please share. I know you had a recent outing with Greg Yost and his son. If you want to get into that, go ahead.
Man, I can, first off, I cannot say enough nice things about those two cats. They are the most hospitable hosts I've ever been around in my life. Welcomed me in as one of their own, which, Greg and I are both team leaders on Don Peak's Wilderness Adventures now. But, welcomed me in like family. I never felt uncomfortable or unwanted around either one of them. And I had an amazing weekend with some amazing experiences. Friday night, was probably the most active night I've ever had out Bigfooting. And
awesome.
We went out. I got up at the hot spot, as Greg calls it, around 7:30. I set up my tent and all that, and we didn't hang around long. We went out in the woods and done a little night ops. Greg showed us some stuff that he previously found, and we found some kind of symbol. It was Greg believes, and if Greg believes it, I believe it, and all that. But he believes that it was a sign for him. It was a gift, and it was a tree branch, and it was laying on a log crossing the river.
Yes, I remember seeing that.
All right, and it had a big rock and a little rock in it. Now, folks, that don't happen naturally. There's nobody else. There's nobody else in those woods but us. I mean, that's something I can't explain. And
yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna say, from what I recall seeing in that picture, that wasn't a dead tree limb. That was very fresh too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it had leaves still on it.
Yeah, green leaves. Yeah, I thought it looked very fresh to me. So yeah, most interesting.
So we found that, and we went with lights out several times. We turned the lights out, and Greg, he's the first person I've ever been around to speak to him, to kind of caveman talk, if you will. Now, we heard some movement. We didn't get any responses back to that, but that don't mean that, they wasn't there, they wasn't listening. But all in all, the night ops was very, very good. It was I enjoyed seeing some old things that he'd found and seeing some new things. We did get attacked by this sketchy-ass hornet, and I'm not kidding you guys. You can ask these guys, this damn thing was as big as a cigarette lighter. And it was just, it sounded like a 747 taking off. And it was attacking our life and shit, and that was freaking us out. And it was just one lone hornet. If it had been a whole group of them, man, we'd have been screwed. But so we made our way back to camp, base camp, and Greg and I and his brother Art, all three sat around the campfire up until the night about 1 o'clock or so, and just kind of solitary, collecting our thoughts and everything. And when we laid down, I laid down in my tent. They went to their separate tents and everything. Man, it wasn't probably 35 minutes later, we started hearing tree knocks and snaps and heavy footsteps, and it lasted all night long with grunts and whoops. And long around just a little after daylight Saturday morning, we heard one really, really close, loud tree knock. I mean, it sounded like Ken Griffey Jr. smacked one out of the park, I'm telling you. And it got me and Greg both out of our tents. And, his first thing he said, he didn't say good morning, hey, Mike, or nothing. He was like, did you hear that? And I was like, that's why I'm out of my tent, What in the hell was that? But we deployed a sound recorder that morning around 9:45 or so. We didn't retrieve it until yesterday morning around the same time. I think there was 23 hours of recording on it. But I'll get to that in a second. Saturday, we got up, we ate breakfast, we went out in the field. I found one footprint that was fairly fresh, still muddied a little bit. I sent you a picture of it. It wasn't nothing huge, but it was a good 14, 15 incher, probably 6.5, 7 inches wide at the heel. It's a barefoot. None of us were barefooted. All of us wearing boots and stuff and everything. We went around and found the X. I sent you a picture of the X, and it was right above this. It was right above this ground structure. that Greg had found previously with Connie Willis, and the X was just up the hill from it. We didn't go past it, and I advised them, I was like, my experience, guys have tore these things down, and they've gotten, the repercussions of them aren't good.
Right.
So we went out, we found the lake and everything, and we just kind of sat around, collected our thoughts for a little while. We made our way back out there. Didn't find a whole lot more as far as evidence goes. A bunch of tree snaps and some arches and stuff. But the overall presence, and in my field notes, the first thing I say is it is undoubtedly, the presence of Bigfoot is undoubtedly here. This is a really good hot spot. Now, problem's going to be keeping people out of it. Only a few people know about this hot spot, but there's a good trail that runs through there also, a good walking trail that could potentially cause some unwanted visitors into the area.
Right.
But then Saturday night, we decided, we talked about it, and I said, there's a bunch of activity going on here last night.
Right.
I would like to stay here. I want to sleep outside, my boots close to me. That way I hear a tree knock or tree snap or whatever, heavy footstep, I'm grabbing my light and I'm going right to it with my camera blazing. I'm going to see what this is.
Right.
And I had that in my mind, which I've been told in the past 24 hours, I've been told that's one reason why what happened. First off, we didn't hear the tree knocks or the tree breaks, but we, now Greg and Eugene, his son, they state that they didn't feel it like I did. Guys, I'm here to tell you, I something I've never felt in my life, and it was a soul sickness, and that's the best way I can describe it after talking to a medium about my book today. I interviewed a medium again today, and I told her about it, and she said, it almost felt, it wasn't like a food sickness or a sickness to my stomach or anything like that. I said, as crazy as it sounds, it was like my soul was sick. And she said that probably wasn't a Bigfoot causing that. Now, it gets better. Now, I only slept in 30-minute intervals all night long Saturday night. And right now I'm working.
Yeah.
And you all know me better than most. You know that I do not go with supernatural and this and that in the Bigfooting world. I don't do that. Flesh and blood, and that's it. But that's the Bigfoot world. This is something else.
Yeah.
So, the only way I can describe it is my soul was sick, like I'd been just drained of energy. And every 30 minutes or so, I'd just wake up out of a dead sleep. And I just sit straight up on my cot, and I just sit there and look at the fire for 10, 15 minutes and not really thinking about anything. And then I'd lay back down. And then, I'd wake back up, lay back down, and it went on all night long, wore out all night long. And then finally, around 5 o'clock yesterday morning, the way our camp was set up, I had my little truck parked over next to the wood line, and the fire was dying down a little bit. To kind of set the scene for you, the glow of the fire wasn't as great as what it was earlier in the night, and the distance that the light was traveling was a little closer. And I rolled over on my right hand side, and when I did, I opened my eyes and I looked straight past the back end of my truck into the tree line, and there stood something. And it was a good foot taller than Greg. Greg is 6'6", so 7.5 foot tall. It was a silhouette. I'm not saying it was a Bigfoot. I'm not saying it was anything else, but there was something standing there. Wow. And I didn't see any details of anything. I saw a silhouette. And, I went through it, and I thought, could have been a shadow projecting over that way, because it never did really move. And when I woke up again, it was gone. But I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% sure there was something standing there now.
Well, most likely you did see something.
Well, people have told me dogmen are known for energy draining and all this stuff, and uneasy feeling. That's the thing. I posted on Facebook the other night. I have a very uneasy feeling. I'm uncomfortable. I'm very, very uncomfortable right now. And that's exactly what was going through my mind and my body. It was an uncomfortable feeling. And even today, Sabrina, the medium, she said that it could have been Native American. That I was thinking, I'm going to jump up. I'm going to take pictures of this thing, and that was a negative. There was something negative in the energy in the air that I was trying to get proof. Instead of doing my research and all that I was actually out there trying to, be one of those guys that I'm against. That I was trying to get proof for this, definitive proof, not research them. And there's several factors that she told me today that's went in on that, and it's just, I guess things are starting to come to light. But yeah, I had some negative thoughts going on because I was like, maybe this is finally going to be our chance to prove something, and maybe that's the wrong thing to think. And I've changed it, But the weirdest thing, I had that feeling all day long yesterday, all night long last night, even today at work. And I went and saw this medium and talked to her. I interviewed her for my book. And as we were talking, I told her, I said, I still don't feel right. And she gave me this quartz stone or something like that. And she said, just hold it in the palm of my hand and that I would feel its energy. And it's crazy. The sound that actually works. I feel myself right now. And I this is Michael Cook, guys. I mean, come on. You all know me better than most, and I don't bullshit, but this is really weirded me out.
Yeah, I had no doubt that something happened to you. Because we weren't there and didn't experience what you did. I can't really speculate or really comment too in depth. But yeah, I'm kind of like, as you're explaining all this, I'm kind of almost put myself there. So so yeah, I kind of.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, when I go out in the woods, I always leave offering down wherever I go, and that's for pleasing of the spirits that are there. And I even have my medicine bag, and my medicine bag do have the little crystals in my neck. But every time when I go, when I go out, I don't expect upon. I look around and I look for certain things, and there's sometimes that it crosses my eye. But your experiences was just totally amazing, and I think what I would do in the next if it was me, because I've been learning a little bit more things, little techniques, and you get them on your own. Because I decided for this time when I'm going to put field cameras up, I'm not going to put them a human height. I'm not going to put them 5 foot. I'm not going to put a 6 foot. I'm actually going to put them like 10 feet up in the air, angling down in the area where the animal has been at. Because for some reason he is going to that area, and now the animal knows you. He knows your voice. He knows your scent, and he knows that you're going to be back, and he knows that you're not going to harm him. And then so once he has that trust that, hey, you're not going to bother me, you're not going to hurt me, he's going to be okay, so that you're going to be okay. So. I'm gonna have to leave now. I got to cook my fiance some dinner. So.
Good man.
Yeah.
Good man. You're a good man.
Not so y'all have a good evening, and I will talk to y'all soon.
You too. Thanks for coming on, Baltimore.
No problem. Bye-bye.
I'll talk to you. Bye.
All right.
As far as the voice recorder, I listened to right at the 3-minute mark yesterday, and I actually had to leave. And real quick, if anybody is in the Louisville, Kentucky area or southern Indiana area or passing through, in fact, in May, Daniel, when you come out to Louisville, I'm making it a point to take a couple of hours and take you out to the Falls of the Ohio State Park. And I posted some pictures yesterday. You can find it on my personal page. But it's amazing. It's a fossil bed there at the river. And there's so many neat little fossils. But if anybody's listening and wants to check that out, it's Falls of the Ohio, and it's just across the river in Louisville, on the Indiana side in Clarksville. It's very neat. It's worth the little walk down to it. It's very educational and very beautiful. But I had to leave yesterday and get back down here to my, everything goes on in my life. But I listened about 3.5-4 minutes of the recording yesterday, and apparently I cut it off too soon because Greg messaged me last night and said at about the 5 to 6 minute mark, you can hear a clear, distinct wood knock and some grunting going on, and I reckon it's going on the whole time this is recording. We also left donuts, which, whatever anybody's prerogative is, it's fine. I'm not knocking nobody. Love Greg. No disrespect, Greg, if you're listening. I don't necessarily agree with feeding. I don't agree with that. I agree with leaving, some kind of symbolic stones or whatever. But you get to feeding them, they expect it every time. And that can turn into a really dangerous situation.
I agree. Not just, the thing is, depending on what kind of food or any food for that matter, I mean, you're also, if any wildlife in that area, what they do, especially bears or even say mountain lions or whatever, any main predators, you're habituating them. You're more or less inviting them. And by natural instinct, they're going to become habituated to that food, and they're going to keep coming to that area. So yeah, I agree with you. Food's not a safe thing to present to anything in the woods, and that can go for other dangers as well.
That could actually mean life and death for this. That could actually mean life and death for this creature. Also, if it's a Bigfoot. Then
allergies,
somebody could see it, have a gun, which, Brian Sullivan, good friend of mine, you all know Brian. I messaged him the other night because, I wasn't really in my right mind, guys. I mean, I'm being straight up 100% with you all. I was not myself the other night when this was going on. I just did not feel like I was in my body. And I hate to think that something was hacking into my brain. And I hate to even put that in my thoughts, but that's what it seems like it was doing.
Right.
And, I talked to Brian, and Brian said, well, maybe it's your subconscious telling you, there's danger around. Are you packing? And me, I mean, you all know me. I'm always packing.
Right.
And it's not for kill a Bigfoot unless I'm attacked. Well, I'm going to tell you, Bigfoot or me, I'm putting 2 in his head and 1 in his chest. I'm not putting 2 in the chest and 1 in the head. It's 2 in the head, 1 in the chest. I'm making sure it's done if it's after me.
Yeah.
But not just to kill one out. Do what, Shake?
My magazine holds 13 rounds.
I couldn't.
I'm going to tell you, for my life, I'm going to unload this. I'm going to unload something.
Well, I told Brian, I said, you know me, you all know me. I pack wherever I go, and I'll pack at work and everything. And I had a .40 caliber Ruger laying right underneath my pillow the whole night, but I don't think whatever was was bugging me the other night. I don't think that gun would have done anything for it.
Yeah.
Do they have
and
area?
Greg says that there has been one sighting of a black bear there, like it's a rogue bear that just, comes around every now and then.
But
Yeah.
And it's real spooky. Like it gets spooked real easy.
Huh.
So,
you think down there you would have more common black bears down there than you do. Like we have, I'm going to tell you, we have lots of them here, tons of them, and there's some big ones up here too. That's for sure.
Well, the reason I was asking is, didn't somebody see something out of the provisional of the other side? I can't say provision, whatever the hell it is, out the side of their eye. Didn't somebody see something?
I saw something yesterday morning around 5 a.m. 1500 hours. When I rolled over on the right-hand side, I looked. I mean, it was tractor beamed. I looked straight at this thing standing there, and it never did come closer. And I kept on cracking my eyes, kind of barely open them, and I could still see it. But I finally fell back asleep. I wouldn't. Let me state this: when I saw it, I didn't automatically think, "Get the hell up, see what it is." It was almost like, it's not going to bother me now. But the fact remains, the feeling from 11 o'clock Saturday night till actually around 4:30 today, I just did not feel myself. So if you all have any answers, or any of the viewers, any of the listeners, I'm sorry, have any answers that, I've got an answer from the medium. I feel great now. I'm still exhausted. But I'm only running on about 3 hours of sleep in the last 64 hours. So, yeah. But as far as physically, I feel all right now.
Now, there is a question on the live chat. It's directed towards all of us, and I'll let any of you guys start it off if you like. They're asking, the question goes as, why do you all call yourself researchers? I don't know if one of you guys wanted to take off with that one or not.
Shaky, you go. I'll catch up.
Why do we call ourselves researchers? Well, isn't that the definition? We research. I don't know. Is this a trick question or something?
All right. So I go into the field. I collect evidence that ultimately research notes for the greater cause of
knowledge,
given definitive proof and knowledge of these creatures. As far as research goes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to mention, as far as researchers in general, for those for those who don't understand the proper definition of researchers, especially field researchers, we're also known as investigators. If you look up the definition of researcher, we're also investigate. We investigate what's not known or understood. So we're out there investigating to learn and gain further knowledge. And for those of us who research cryptids such as Bigfoot, we also observe and take notice of our known wildlife. We're researching them, getting to understand their patterns as well as the alleged Bigfoot or Sasquatch. People need to understand researchers could go a long ways as far as how you're describing a researcher. I think it's very misunderstood.
I'll tell you what, I can't do it on my phone because I can't look anything up while I'm on the phone. Daniel, you're sitting there at a computer. Look up the definition of researcher and read it off.
Yeah, sure will.
I never really thought of myself as a researcher. I'm more of a hunter.
You hunt for
right here.
You hunt for food.
But that doesn't mean that you have to hunt to kill something.
All right, here's the word research. It's broken down into two different. First is the noun definition. the systematic investigation into and study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. All right, there's a noun. Here's a verb. Investigate systematically. The investigate, study, probe, explore, analyze, examine, scrutinize, etc. So, but back to the noun. What's that now?
Whoever asked the question just got the literal definition of what we do.
And
we're systematically investigating. We're systematically investigating things for greater good, for greater knowledge.
Yeah, and under the noun, under synonyms, again, it goes to as it mentions investigation, experimentation, testing, analysis, fact-finding, fieldwork, examination, scrutiny, and more, so forth, blah blah blah. But yeah,
that's a good. That is a great word to put in that right there, because if anybody is scrutinized in this world, it is us.
Yeah, the definition of scrutiny couldn't say it any better. Critical observation or examination.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I was asked somewhat of a similar question one time on a panel, and they asked, why do you call yourself a cryptozoologist? Because a zoologist is a doctor of zoology, right?
Right.
So if you're a cryptozoologist, you're supposed to be a doctor of cryptozoology, which cryptozoology is the crap. I just lost my train of thoughts. I was going to come out with something great, and it was right there. Hang on. It was cryptozoology is the research of mythical creatures not known to science yet.
Right.
There's been a lot of cryptid creatures. There have been a lot of cryptid creatures that have been proven to be real. The best example is a silverback lowland gorilla. Used to be a cryptid creature. Look it up, viewers. Look it up, questioners. The lowland silverback gorilla was once thought to be a cryptid creature because there was no proof that them damn things lived there, and they even existed.
Yeah. Well, it's the same. It's the same point of view when it comes to the Bigfoot or Sasquatch. I mean, that's what today's modern society is referring to as. All right, right now, that same user on the live chat, Flycatch says, Bigfoot is more than a legend, but proving it is another thing. Okay, yes, no, you got a point, but the thing is, you got to read. This is what I tell people when they throw stuff like that. Bigfoot's more of a legend. But people don't realize what many different species existed back during the Pleistocene era, the prehistoric eras. All the, like what you were just saying, all these different species that once existed, people don't realize some of them are still coming out to be found to still exist. Some later than others.
Bigfoot is theorized to be a relative or a species of Gigantopithecus. It even goes farther than that. Then in modern pop culture, let's go into it. Okay. The other night, I know I'm behind on times, but I just have watched the new, and laugh at me if you will, but it was a fantastic movie. I applaud it. I recommend it for anybody. The new version of the Jungle Book. When King Louie, played by Christopher
I have not
Walken.
seen that. My mother and daughter have seen that. So
great movie. It pays very good homage to the original cartoon, which is one of my favorite Disney cartoons, if not my most favorite besides The Lion King. However, while King Louie in the original Jungle Book was an orangutan, okay?
Right.
In
this one here,
the new Jungle Book,
he
is a Gigantopithecus, and he even calls himself a Gigantopithecus.
Yeah.
All right?
Oh, wow.
So, do what?
Oh, he said, "Oh wow."
I got cool. live chatter questioner. You got a phone, you've got a computer, you got a phone. Call the number. Let's debate this right here, right now. Why are we researchers? What makes us cryptozoologists? What makes Bigfoot a known creature to us, but a legend to others.
And for the live viewers right now, you got 15 minutes left, and the call-in number is area code 602-753-1963. And let me touch base back on the live chat because there's more picking up on the live chat. The other thing is Nikki. Let me start back from Nikki's mention. She said the point you make is notable, but since no one is an expert at Bigfoot, most call themselves researchers because they are usually knowers. They have already seen the creature, so they don't have to prove its existence to themselves. Then Flycatch says it's speculation. Then Nikki says, however, it would be correct to call yourself an investigator. So, yeah. Now, as far as speculation, there's a lot of speculation.
The literal definition of researcher has investigator in it.
Exactly.
So
it's another
we're
term
researching these creatures.
Yeah. Yes. Research is another fancy term for investigators, more or less. It's a scientific term related, Just for the record, Baltimore is back on the line with us. Just for so. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to come back. It was a good
awesome.
A good talk.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Did you have time to? You got the microwave set to 5 minutes, don't you?
Yes, sir.
You're making your. You're
Hungry
making your fiance dinner. You got her warmed up there, buddy.
Yes, sir. I do. I have to. That's my job. Yep.
Okay, you're full blood. You're full blood Apache, right, Baltimore?
No, sir. Not full blooded, but I have some blood in me. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And when I was small, I lived in the woods. My spare time, everything I did was down the creeks and everything. My ancestors taught me a lot about a lot of things in the woods, and taught me a lot about the Apache ways. And for us, it's not a blood percentage. We are who we are.
Right.
Okay. Now maybe you listened to what happened to me over the weekend.
Yes, sir. I listened to you.
What is your opinion on this?
Oh, what's my opinion on it? The thing is, again, the animal is very, very. He is checking things out, and then so he's watching for your leaving behind because campers leave potato chips out, and so all the noises that he's been making, it was making a point that he knew that you were there, and he knew that you were there. The feeling. God, let me tell you, when I saw Bigfoot for the first time, he was like 30, 40 yards away. And he was pretty close, and I was looking at this animal, and he was looking at me back. And my mind was playing tricks on me. Like, even though if I was seeing it, and it was telling me, no, you didn't see that. You're not seeing that. He goes, and I'm trying to... Well, it's not a javelina, it's not a wild pig, it's not a cow. It's standing on two legs. It's looking at me. It's watching me. And the feeling that I got, it was a feeling that I cannot describe.
Well, this was the first time that I ever saw one. I mean, I saw my first one 16 years ago, and yeah, I get that. This is the first time that.
Right. See, there's sometimes also too people have a gift for drawing, and they have these certain gifts. And the man upstairs gives you these gifts. For some reason, it's a gift that you have, to find these animals and attract to these animals and relate to these animals. And it's just a gift. And there's sometimes we ask ourselves, why am I worthy of this gift? And we're always putting little doubts into our minds. And there's sometimes also that we have to accept it. He goes, you have to accept what it is. And then this feeling that you had, I cannot give you a reason the way that you feel, but it's also good. Like when they gave you that crystal, people don't believe in that, but a lot of people do. I believe in crystals. I believe in quartz crystals. I believe that the crystals do heal.
She mentioned something to me that I didn't mention, and I wasn't going to mention either, but. Screw it. She mentioned something to me else that maybe I need to come back, and maybe she needs to go deeper, because this creature, if it wasn't a Bigfoot, if it was some other kind of entity, it could have attached itself to me. And even though the crystal is kind of keeping my good energy up, that part of this creature, this part of this entity or whatever could still be attached somehow. She wants me to come back and maybe go into hypnosis or something like that.
Hey,
right,
I think
the only thing that... Yes, sir.
Oh, no, I was just going to kind of make a more of a joking comment, but, it's, you know, it almost makes me think of the Wendigo. Have you ever heard the stories and legends on the Wendigo, which I don't believe in? It's more of a legend and myth, but, you know, some do believe in the Wendigo.
Yeah.
Kind of related to the Wendigo. It's like a evil spirit that overtakes the body, and, you know, of course, according to legend, it causes you to do evil and bad things.
Like
but you know, the Rougarou, the Louisiana, the southern. Yeah, exactly.
Man, see, like down here in South Texas, we have all these different kinds of animals down here. Mystical animals like the lechuza, half owl and half woman. And even here, if you look under Beeville, Texas, and type up the big bird, there was like a Mothman creature that was actually seen here in Beeville in 1975, and also was seen in Robstown, Texas. And there have been a lot of documented about other strange animals that actually been seen here. One of the chupacabras was actually killed in Poteet, Texas, and it's not just hairless coyotes that they see up around here. It's not that. So even the Army came and picked that body up. So,
wow.
But the thing is again is that there's a lot of creatures out there that hasn't been seen yet. They're just now started to be seen. Like, for example, like the big bird. That's what we called it down here, or the lechuza legends that we always talk about. There's a lot of legends out there. People have actually seen it. The goat man is also popular here. Hello?
Because the goat
man, like the Thunderbird.
Thunderbird,
like the Thunderbird. Big
Thunderbirds, yes. Yeah, this creature stood over 6 foot tall and had eyes as large as silver dollars. Wow. And it actually flew on top and landed on top of our water towers. That's how big this animal was. Yes, sir. And this was in 1975. But again, we have seen, we've heard and read about all these creatures that are out here. And are they real? You know, if people see them, you know, and they put them in the newspaper, you know, it has to be real. But there's so many eyewitnesses that actually seen it, and how can we not count it that it's not being real? And right now, how many thousands and millions of people have actually seen Bigfoot and say, hey, this animal ain't real? But if somebody would ask me a question that, hey, is Bigfoot real? Yes, sir, it is, because I saw it, and I know the way it smells, and I know what it does. I could hear, it breathe. I know his breathing sounds. I know his whoop sounds. I know his whistling sounds. I know his knocking sounds. You know, if you don't believe me, come with me for a weekend, and I'll go down there to the creek beds, and let's see what you hear and what you see.
Right.
You know, and the thing, yes, sir.
You see, the thing you're talking about, you know, and it really, you know, I agree 100% with you on that, but, you know, it goes back to my mind. It chaps my ass about people that will say, well, you know, the way Bigfoot came about was it was a Native American legend and this and that, and somebody decided to make it real, so they faked a bunch of footprints, and somebody dressed as in a gorilla suit and all this stuff, and the Thunderbirds and stuff. People, you know, well, it's a known fact that the Native Americans heard thunder, and you know they were too stupid to really think it was something natural, and blah 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 blah. They thought it was birds flapping their wings.
Right.
That burns me up to think that, because there's fossil records of gigantic of Thunderbirds. Yeah. I mean, these creatures did exist and do exist. It wasn't something thought up by somebody on peyote out in the middle of the desert one night.
Well, Michael, think
just
about
like giants.
You have you have different tribes of Native Americans spread over thousands of miles, and damn near every tribe has this same exact creature as that tribe has to deal with that lives in the woods. They didn't have social media. We're talking about tribes that didn't get along. We're talking about miles and miles separation, no contact between them, but they all had the same creature. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way that's possible if it did not exist or if it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
my
That's
point.
why we always took. Yeah, that's why we always took offerings with us in the woods. That's why we always had our tobacco pouches. That's why we always had a little bit of something to eat. Just in case if we encounter something, we just leave the offering down and back off and leave. That's the way we were taught when we were small. And the thing is, again, is respecting nature. If you respect nature, everything will be all right in there. Because the thing is, again, how they say the walls have ears, the forests have eyes. There's so many eyes is watching you.
I agree.
I'm
that.
going to tell you something. With the exception
Mm-hmm.
of gifts and donuts and stuff like this, if you take out, which a very, very wise person once told me when I was getting into the Bigfoot world, and I won't mention his name. He's gone now. He's passed on, but he was one of my early mentors, and he told me, he said, always pack some bird seed or something like that with you. And he had a little bit of Native American in him, but he didn't have much. He knew the old ways. And I said, well, why? He said, well, if the Bigfoot doesn't like it, that could mean a starving bird's second chance, or
Exactly.
a starving squirrel's second chance. You're giving another creature the means to survive if they're on their last leg. And he mentioned something to me, and years later I didn't realize, until it happened to me. When you're penniless, when you don't have $1 in your pocket, and you're thinking, I'm going to die of thirst. Which, I mean, come on, literally no, but you'll always find 50 cents in the parking lot. It's like a gift from God. And sure enough, one day, and it was literal. One day, I was really, really thirsty. I mean, like dry tongue and everything. Couldn't even get up enough saliva. And I was walking to the parking lot, and I hadn't got paid yet. I walked through the parking lot, and lo and behold, I looked down, there was $1. And It was almost like everything clicked, and it was like, holy shit. That's the bird seed that kept a bird alive, or a Bigfoot alive, or a squirrel alive, or whatever. That's the nutrients that $1 will go in my pocket and go buy water.
There you go.
So, you're not just gifting Bigfoot, you're gifting nature. You're giving back.
Exactly.
But don't leave donuts. Donuts, not gluten, not anything that's not gluten free, because everybody knows Bigfoot needs gluten free.
The thing is, again, it's like there's actually been people that actually had groceries on top of their car, and actually fallen down, and then so when they noticed that the stuff fell out, there's a Bigfoot in the back picking it up. There's actually been encounters down over here in my hometown where there's actually been deer in back of the tailgate to a truck, and just put it right back up there and everything like that, and started driving down the creek bed. And then all of a sudden they started to get something, or they saw like a deer or something like that, to get another shot at it, and something just shakes their tailgates of their vehicle, and now their deer's gone. There's been encounters like that here. So, and the thing is, again, who are you going to tell? Hey, guess what? I just had a deer in back of my tailgate, and something took it. I don't know what did it. You don't tell too many people that.
No, I'll tell you a quick story that I heard.
Hey, let me interrupt real quick. This is just for the viewers right now, because we got 30 seconds left for the live viewers. Although there is another 20 minutes left after we go off air. We still record for another 20 minutes. So I just want the viewers know you're going to miss the last 20 minutes. So be sure to come back and watch us under the archives, or you can subscribe to YouTube channel ECBRO 98, and you can see the rest of it. Listen to the rest of it there, because we'll probably make a few more announcements before we go. So, all right. Thank you guys for viewing, but we're still recording. So go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Real quick story that I was told while researching my books and stuff. I went down to the Cherokee Nation in Cherokee, North Carolina, and talked to a man named John Longfeather. And John told him, John's elderly man. He's in his 80s now, but I'd say he's more fit than any of us on this panel right now. I wouldn't run a foot race with him at all. But he said that whenever he was a child, and we're talking 75, 80 years ago, he said that in their tribe, and they were still having a hard time. It's hard to believe that, but they were still in. I know you believe it. You know it to be fact, Baltimore. It's even 80 years ago, the Native Americans were still having a hard time. They're still having a hard time today, but back then it was a tough time. And they had a community garden where they lived at. And it was, the way he described it, it must have been massive. It was huge. Just rows and rows of corn and what have you, all kinds of vegetables. And they said that, some of this garden, they had to cut a couple of trees and everything and go past the wood line to make room for the massive garden, the community garden. And after they cut the trees and stuff, and their crops started coming in and everything, they would go out and they would be ransacked. Like, there was loads of vegetables stolen and everything. And finally, one of the elders of the tribe said, "You know what? I know who's doing this, and they don't like it because we went past our boundary. I'm going into the woods to talk to them." And they said that he went out and he was gone for 3 days, 2 nights and 3 days. He came back on the third day in the evening. And he said, "All is well, but we have to make a sacrifice of our own food, and we're taking a section of our crops and gifting it to the wood line." And John says that he was sitting near the garden one day, and they'd taken several baskets out to the wood line. And he said he sat and watched with his own 2 eyes 2 creatures 8 to 10 foot tall walk out and get the baskets.
Yep.
And
I heard
walk
that story.
back into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And a week later, they went back out, and the baskets were there. There was berries. There were berries that the Cherokee Indians could not find. That these berries were some kind of, I forget what he called them. I mean, I have it written down somewhere. But these berries were some kind of crucial ingredient to some kind of medicine they made. And they couldn't find it in this area. But lo and behold, in these baskets were these berries. And John says that the elder chief went out and talked to the forest people, whatever you want to call them, and told them, we give, we get. Well, it's a trade deal. And that's how it went for years and years and years until, grocery stores started popping up on every corner and everything. And when they kill a deer, when they go out and hunt, they would always leave a deer. And tell the forest people, even though they wouldn't in sight, this is for you. This is so you don't have to hunt them down. This is for you. And they go back, and it would be gone. Coyotes leave scraps. There's bones and stuff there. There would be nothing left. There would be no bloodshed or anything. It was almost like it was picked up and packed off. So offerings have always been a part of the Native American culture with these creatures. You have to trade with them.
Exactly.
Hey guys, I got a quick question for all y'all. As far as will all you guys be available for this coming Friday night?
Yeah.
Say
Friday night.
Yeah, about 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Should be.
Yeah, I should be.
Okay.
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 I'm doing a pre-recording for Vic Kunda's show Wednesday night. I don't know when that's going to air though. But I'll be busy Wednesday night. But I'll be free Friday. I've got my kid Saturday.
Okay.
So.
All right. The only reason I ask because I'm not sure who yet, but I have a couple people in mind. I think I might try to see if I can invite someone else to join us. Have another open discussion and just go all out, with it again. Just everyone sharing something. What's that?
You need to get Ed Brown. Message him. I'll message him. Get him to call in Friday night.
Hey, that would be cool. Talk to him. I'll send him a message and I'll see what we can do. So,
and, you can send me a text.
Okay, I'll try to set reminders. Because again, after tonight, you guys won't hear back from me till Friday, unfortunately. So, that's kind of it's just a sad situation on my part. I'll explain later, but I have to wait till Friday after tonight. So.
This was a good show tonight, and so
it was.
And for some reason, it was bothering me, and I said, you know what, I need to come up here and because I've been doing so much with the Standing Rock and try to save the river, from the pipeline industry, and the thing is, there's so much pollution going on right now with oil. And again, Bigfoot needs water to survive as well. So
right.
And I've been doing all this stuff for possibly pretty close to 3 weeks, and maybe a little bit longer, and trying to stop the pipelines from building a pipeline underneath the river. So
right.
So I've been spending a lot of time on that. So
okay.
I've got so much respect for you for that right now. I wish I could do something myself. That is just very respectful, and you're right. You don't miss something until it's gone, and we lose the water.
That's it. Life ends.
Definitely going to miss it.
Yeah, and, life ends after that.
For the next month, myself, what do I have coming up? I've got the week of Thanksgiving. The Friday before Thanksgiving, I'm going into the woods in the Smoky Mountains. I'm hoping Ed Brown joins me. If not, then I'm hoping somebody else does, because I don't plan on getting eaten by a bear. I'm fairly sure I can outrun Ed.
Could you imagine that poor bear?
Do what?
Could you imagine the heartburn that poor bear would have had if he ate you?
Oh my God! I get hit so much diseases. That's what Dave Bacara. I put that on Facebook the other day. I said that's it. I want a koala bear for a pet. And Dave Bacara from the Expedition Sasquatch, he was like, "Yeah, they're great and everything, but they carry all kinds of diseases." And I was like, "So do I." I give a complimentary penicillin shot to my date.
Have you always burned sage for you ever out there in the woods?
No. I've heard of that. What is that? I think you mentioned that before. What exactly does that do?
It's a Native American herb that we actually burn for our ceremonies. And but what that does, but the smell travels for quite a distance. Right. And it basically settles the spirits. And so there's some times what I would do is I would actually burn sage. That's one thing that we actually do before a ceremony and stuff. We actually burn sage. So that basically helps me out a lot to level out a little bit. I got to tell you a story.
Herbs.
Yeah, I got to tell you a story. Go ahead. I don't know how long I got here. When I was small, we would always blame my cousin because my cousin always plays tricks on us. So one particular day we were fishing at this lake, and it was a private lake. And so we were out there fishing for catfish and everything, and then all of a sudden we heard like logs or maybe stumps getting thrown into the water. And the very first thing that we blamed was my cousin Ernest. He goes, "Oh, Ernest is back to his tricks again." And sure enough, they were kept on throwing these things in the water. And then so we started throwing rocks back. We were thinking it was somebody playing a practical joke on us. And so it made a yell, and then threw another stump in the water. And then after that, and then it was Ernest left already. So we were maybe like around 10, 11 years old at the time. And then so the next day we called him up and told him, "Hey, you were playing practical jokes on us, throwing stuff in there." He goes, "You know what? I wasn't nowhere near y'all. I was actually in town."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, stuff like that is, that's the kind of stuff that you think when you're little kids. You never think of a primate or coming up there and throwing things at you because we never knew that something like that was out there. So, but again, he goes, but we didn't know that much any better. So and then all of a sudden, my uncles would say, "Oh, that was El Fantasma Negro." He goes, "Yeah, so he's out there playing tricks on y'all," and stuff like that. So, and then that's actually when we first started. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, there's a question I wanted to ask you. Now, I'm gonna make a confession. Some people probably might think it's stupid or it's funny, whatever. But this is something I do. I never shared this with anybody because when I'm out in the woods, especially at my camp, because I look into a lot of the Native American, activities and some of their rituals, and when I'm at my camp by myself, especially in the evening and towards night, when I get a fire going, I start doing like how they do like a Indian, like they start chanting maybe around the fire. Now, sometimes I get my mindset on the focus of the forest, and I kind of, and of course I get Sasquatch on the mind, but at the same time, kind of doing my own little chant, and I don't know what I'm saying, but does that mean anything, or could that be beneficial to me?
Yeah, so that's basically talking in tongues and the ancestors speaking right through you. And because if there was somebody that knew the tongue, basically you probably were actually saying something that they would understand. But that's the ancestors coming through you, to saying, basically saying a prayer. But if you look at the fire long enough, the fire will hypnotize you. Yeah, so that's what you're doing. So actually what you're doing is you're actually talking to the spirits. And then so the spirits are, yeah, and then thing is, again, the spirits are also helping you out, to please the garden of the garden of the forest, to say, hey, you know what, this person's okay. So, yeah, that is
awesome because that's something I never shared with anybody, but I do it almost every time. Even when I'm in the woods walking, I'll stop and I'll start I'll stand there by a tree and I'll start chanting, kind of getting it, an Indian chant song,
Yeah, because apparently where you're at, there is a lot of Native American. There must have been campsites there, the hunting grounds there, and everything. And the thing is, again, if I believe that Bigfoot communicates. I believe that Bigfoot communicates with each other, and they basically also can tell them exactly what happened in the past. So but thing is, again, it's because the forest is very, very magical. The thing is, again, once 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, then you're going to hear the great horned owls, and then you're going to hear so many owls that makes it sound like primates are out there chatting. I've been in the great,
my most common one is the barred owl, and this is something I told everybody when we went camping in the first week of September. And I've told people this. I said, listen, everybody, if we start hearing owls, when they start sounding off, and I told them, because this is something I observed, and I kind of picked up on this. I said, when you start hearing those owls, I want you to listen to what might follow afterwards within the next half hour to 45 minutes or so.
Correct.
And I told them, and they could mock my word. They could hold to what I told them, because it happened. When we started hearing owls at one night, I mean, and then it was silent. We were all sitting around the campfire. And this is a similar story. I shared this before, just what Michael Cook was saying. My father was in his tent. He was in there for about maybe 10 minutes trying to lay down. We were all sitting around the campfire. We were talking, but then we all got silent. And then from out of nowhere, just across the forest road into the woods, it sounded like somebody took a Louisville Slugger baseball bat and knocked it up against a tree. It was so close, but you could hear the power behind that knock. And that's what started all the activity. We started hearing movement around us. We started hearing all kinds of cracking and breaking. I said, me and Greg from Virginia Beach, I mean, we were all getting into it. We started gearing up, getting our lights on, starting to get closer to investigate what we were hearing. But yeah, that knock brought my father out of his tent. I was like, see, Dad, I told you, this is what I experienced. I said, this is not even a dent in what I experienced out here. So I'm glad he got to experience that little bit,
Yeah.
So
see, like for me is when I'm at home, I cannot do Bigfoot yells when I'm at home because she comes up there, she goes, well, we don't want the animal to get close here. So that's the only rule that I have. I did it with going to the ranch. Is like I can't do my Bigfoot calls, but if I'm going, if I'm like if I'm in a quarter mile away, I'll make them and check if it'll respond back. But because Mom has heard it so many times, and once in a while she gets frightened of it because it sounds so ugly, so that's the only reason why we don't. That's why we don't. It's a respect to Mom. We don't want this heard. So but think it's again. Yeah, but it's again. He's been there for so many years, and we just leave him alone. Yeah. So a lot of guys have listened.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're about to jump off?
Yeah, it was good talking to y'all. Yeah, I'm about to head on
absolutely. Off. Yeah, I got to get ready to jump off too because I'm being called right now. I have knocks at my door right now.
All right, see y'all later.
So, all right, thank you guys for tuning in. What's that?
Real quick, Don Peak Wilderness Adventures. Go find it on Facebook, like the page, and
absolutely.
Yeah. All right,
guys.
See y'all Friday.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you guys again for coming in. God bless everyone.
See y'all.
All right. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube channel E.C.B.R.O. 98.
Napa Auto Parts wants to know, what makes today's new cars so smart? Is it the questionably useful Wi-Fi connectivity? Could it be the giant, confusing touchscreens you should probably stop playing with while driving? Or perhaps voice-activated everything that never seems to listen very well? The answer, of course, is none of the above. Click the banner to see the smartest car available today.
Imagine a country where jobs are plentiful and families can get ahead. A country where veterans are treated with dignity and respect. A country so powerful, terrorism is in retreat. Our families safe. A country run by a leader whose career was built on success. A leader who isn't beholden to special interests, but to the people themselves. Make America great again. Donald Trump for president.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.